I walked into the living room holding 2 glasses of wine, just in time to hear her say it. He's not going anywhere. I control his money. I control everything. Melissa, my wife, sitting there at our family gathering, in front of everyone, her brother Jason, her mom and dad, even her best friend Stacy, and laughing like I was some damn pet she trained. They all laughed. Jason high-fived her like she just told the funniest joke in the world. And I stood there, invisible, holding 2 glasses of wine like the fool they thought I was. That was the exact second everything changed. That was the second I decided, I'm done. You don't just humiliate your husband in public and expect him to fetch your drink afterward. No. I handed her the wine with a smile, sat down next to her, and started planning her destruction. You see, Melissa thought she was smart. She thought hiding her lover behind yoga classes and spa weekends made her a genius. She had no idea I already knew. She had no clue I'd read the messages. She didn't know that I had a flash drive in my jacket pocket with screenshots, every text, every photo, every video of her, and that fake doctor she'd been sneaking around with for 6 months. And she definitely didn't know that while she was mocking me in front of her family, my lawyer was already preparing to freeze the accounts she thought she controlled. She thought she had me trapped. She thought money was power. But power is knowing when to strike. And I wasn't just going to leave her. I was going to leave her with nothing. That night, I let them laugh. 1 week later, they weren't laughing anymore. Especially not her. Because when she came home to an empty closet, a frozen credit card, and a letter on the table with the words, I know everything, in bold at the top, she finally understood what it meant to lose control. She didn't notice the way I stared at her after that toast. Too busy soaking in the attention, enjoying the high of her performance. Her mother giggled like a schoolgirl, sipping white wine, while her father gave me that look, the poor little boy, expression he'd worn since day one. Melissa leaned into me, still smiling. You're quiet tonight, babe, she whispered. Cat got your tongue? No, I said, just enjoying the show. I think that was the first moment she sensed it. The calm in my voice. The way I didn't blink. But she brushed it off. Narcissists always do. They think they're invincible, right up until they're not. After dinner, I excused myself early, blaming a headache. Truth? I couldn't stand to look at them anymore. Not after what I'd seen the night before. I had already suspected something for months. The late nights. The new perfume. The weird, forced affection right before asking for money transfers. But what confirmed it all was that message. It popped up while she was in the shower. I wasn't even snooping, just happened to be standing by her phone when it lit up. Last night was wild. Your AF ****ing goddess. He has no clue, huh? No name. Just a number. But I didn't need one. My gut already knew. That night, I took the phone into the garage, connected it to my laptop, and copied everything. Every photo. Every message. Every voice memo where she moaned his name like it was a prayer. She didn't just cheat. She bragged about it. Mocked me. Told him I was just her wallet. Said she'd keep me around until she milked me dry. And yet, I said nothing. For days. Why? Because rage is easy. But revenge? Real revenge takes patience. I met with my lawyer, Mark Hollings. Told him everything. Can you get me out clean? I asked. Clean, he smirked. I can get you out filthy rich and leave her crawling. I transferred the business to a new LLC without her name. Changed the beneficiaries on my life insurance. Froze our joint savings with an emergency fraud alert. She had no idea. Every morning, she kissed me goodbye like nothing was wrong. Every night, she lied through her teeth about where she'd been. And I let her. Because the more confident she felt, the harder she'd fall. The breaking point came the day before I made my move. She came home at 2 a.m., heels in one hand, hair messy, reeking of someone else's cologne. She looked at me on the couch and said, Why are you up? I looked her dead in the eyes. Just waiting for the perfect moment. She laughed. You're weird. No, Melissa. I was done being your clown. The next day, I emptied the house. My things. Gone. Her credit cards? Declined. Her car? Towed. It was in my name anyway. And on the kitchen table? A flash drive. A letter. And divorce papers. In the letter, I wrote, You said you controlled everything. But you forgot one thing. I was always watching. You lost me the second you started laughing. You'll never laugh like that again. She called me 43 times that night. I didn't pick up. She sent voicemails, sobbing, screaming, begging, swearing. I just poured a drink, leaned back, and hit play on the flash drive. Watched her lies, watched her betrayal, watched her fall apart, and smiled. Because for the first time in years, I finally felt free. She didn't call once. She called 43 times. By call number 12, she stopped yelling. By 21, she was crying. By the last one, she was begging like a child lost in a supermarket. But I didn't answer. I sat on the couch, in my new apartment overlooking the city skyline, sipping whiskey, while her voice cracked through voicemail after voicemail. Ethan, please, can we just talk? It wasn't serious, okay? It didn't mean anything. You're overreacting. Come on, you're being dramatic. I'm sorry. I love you, please come home. It was like watching a movie in reverse. From the cruel queen on her throne to a wreck on the floor. But I knew her too well. That voice wasn't love. It was fear. She wasn't crying because she lost me. She was crying because she lost control. The next day, I got a call from her lawyer. Apparently, Melissa had tried to file a restraining order on me, said I was emotionally abusive and dangerous. Classic deflection. She knew what was coming, and she was trying to flip the script. Too bad I was 10 steps ahead. I'd already handed every file, screenshot, and audio message to my attorney. The same one who now stood outside her apartment building with a certified letter and a smug grin. She was served at 3:12 p.m. She answered the door wearing silk pajamas and confusion. 30 minutes later, she called me again. Ethan, what the hell is this? She screamed. You wanted control, I said. Now you've got all of it. Use it wisely. Then I hung up. The silence that followed was the sweetest music I'd ever heard. It wasn't always like this. There was a time Melissa would sit on the kitchen counter in my hoodie, sipping coffee, telling me how she wanted a big family, how she wanted to grow old with me. I believed her. I wanted to believe her. But love, real love, doesn't use people like tools. And Melissa? She was a professional manipulator. Turns out, I wasn't even her first. 2 days after serving her, I got a message on LinkedIn. A guy named Kyle Benson. Said he used to date Melissa back in college. Said she ruined his life. She used to tell me I wasn't man enough, he wrote. Until I caught her with a professor. She said it was my fault for not making her feel wanted enough. Sound familiar? Yeah, too familiar. Melissa didn't want a partner. She wanted leverage. And when the leverage was gone, she panicked. That week, she tried everything. Posting old couple photos with "come home," Ethan in the captions, messaging my sister, even pretending to be sick. Claimed she was having panic attacks and needed me. Needed my comfort. My sister almost fell for it. Maybe you should just meet and talk, she said. Talk? I laughed. Talk about what? Her gym sessions with Dr. Hands-On. That shut her up. But it was getting messy. So I decided to pay Melissa one last visit. Face to face. Not to scream. Not to argue. To close the chapter. When she opened the door, I saw it. The broken mascara trails. The fake hoodie for sympathy look, the dramatic silence. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. Don't, I said. You had me. You had everything. And you spit on it. Her voice cracked. It wasn't what you think. I needed attention. You had my attention, I snapped. You just wanted worship. And when I stopped bowing, you found someone who did. She tried to cry. Tried to twist it back to guilt. But I didn't flinch. I handed her a single envelope. Inside, a check for $10,000. The note read, for therapy, or tequila, use it wisely. Then I turned around, walked away, and never looked back. But Melissa? She wasn't done yet. No, not even close. Because 2 nights later, someone broke into my office. And guess whose car was seen outside by the building's security camera? Yeah, her lover. The doctor. Or as I'd soon find out, the fraud with a stolen license. I knew it was him the moment I saw the footage. Security at my office called me at 6:42 a.m. Mr. Walker, someone tried to access your building last night. Broke a side window. Nothing seems stolen, but we reviewed the cameras. You'll want to see this. And there he was. Derek Cole, 30-something. Overconfident. The same guy I'd seen shirtless in a photo on Melissa's phone, flexing in my bathroom mirror. He wore a hoodie and gloves, but the camera caught his face. Crystal clear. He was in the parking lot for 10 minutes, pacing, checking his phone. Then he smashed the window with a wrench, peeked inside, realized the alarm was armed, and ran. Why? Why would this guy risk everything to break into my office? The answer hit me fast. Melissa. She was unraveling. Cut off from the money, locked out of the accounts, name dragged in court, and desperate. Probably promised him I had dirt stored in my office. Maybe she told him there was evidence to steal. Maybe she begged him to fix it. That's the thing about desperate people. They drag everyone down with them. So I called the police, gave them the footage, filed the report. But I didn't stop there. I did something I should have done months ago. I dug into Derek. One phone call to a friend in private security, and the truth came fast. He wasn't a real doctor. The license? Fake. The clinic he worked at? Shut down 2 years ago. The name he used on social media? Alias. And Melissa, sweet genius Melissa, was sleeping with a man who couldn't legally treat a paper cut. I felt this cold mix of disgust and satisfaction swirl inside me. She'd mocked me, laughed at me, used me, and she traded all of it for a damn scam artist. So I showed up at his apartment. No warning. Just me, my fists, and the truth. He opened the door wearing a smug grin. That grin lasted exactly 3 seconds. Then my knuckles met his jaw. He hit the floor hard, moaned something, tried to crawl. I grabbed him by the collar. You think you're smart? I growled. You think sneaking into my office makes you some kind of hero? I didn't, he choked. I've got footage, moron. And trust me, I'm not the one with a fake degree and a pending police report. His face turned pale. You have no idea who you're messing with, I added. He blinked, blood in his teeth. Melissa, she said you were dangerous. Yeah, I said. And you believed her? You two really are made for each other. I stood up, wiped my hand, and turned to leave. Oh, and Derek? He looked up. She's not worth it. Then I left him there, broken, bleeding, and shaking. The next morning, Melissa showed up at my apartment, banging on the door like a maniac. I didn't answer. She screamed through the hallway. You hit him. He's in the hospital. Good. I turned on music to drown her out. She left eventually. Probably realized it was over. Probably didn't expect I'd hit back, literally and legally. Later that night, I got a message. Unknown number. You think this is over? I'll ruin you. I smiled. Because that message came from her. Melissa was spiraling, and she wanted to take me down with her. But she forgot one thing. I had the truth. And now? Now, the world was going to see it too. Because tomorrow morning, I had a meeting scheduled with a reporter, and not just any reporter. Her cousin, the one she thought was on her side. Turns out, even her own blood was tired of her lies. Her name was Olivia Sanders, Melissa's cousin on her mom's side. Same age, smarter than the rest of that family combined. The kind of woman who saw through the makeup, the filters, the rehearsed smiles. We weren't close, but she always treated me with quiet respect. So when she called me 2 days after the break-in and said, Ethan, I think it's time the world sees who Melissa really is, I listened. We met at a quiet cafe downtown. No cameras, no drama. Just her, a notepad, and a voice recorder. I'm writing a piece on relationship manipulation for the Chronicle, she said, sipping black coffee. And I want your story to be the centerpiece. At first, I hesitated. It felt dirty. But then I remembered the smirk Melissa wore when she said, I control his money. The fake tears. The lover in my house. The voicemail threats. She wanted war? Fine. Let's talk, I said. Over the next 2 hours, I told Olivia everything. The emotional control. The betrayal. The manipulation. The fake doctor. The break-in. She took notes, asked sharp questions, nodded in understanding. And then she hit me with this. You know you're not the first, right? I blinked. What? Melissa, Olivia said, leaning in. She's done this before. In college. After college. Even with a guy in our own family circle. She's a pattern. She doesn't love, she feeds. And when she's drained someone, she throws them away. I sat back. Let that sink in. So I wasn't just a victim. I was her latest project. By the time the article came out, it had a headline that punched like a hammer. Behind closed doors, the mask of a manipulative queen. Names were changed, of course. No lawsuits wanted. But the details? Unmistakable. Any friend, family member, or coworker who knew us could read between the lines. Melissa exploded. The article dropped on a Monday morning. By noon, she'd posted 5 Instagram stories calling it defamation, misogynistic trash, and a pathetic attempt by a bitter man to stay relevant. But the comments? Didn't go her way. Wait, isn't this you? This sounds exactly like what you did to Ethan. I used to think you were a queen. Turns out you're just toxic. She turned off comments by evening. Deleted posts the next day. And then, she showed up at Olivia's apartment. Screaming. Crying. threatening lawyers. Big mistake. Because Olivia? She recorded everything and posted the audio anonymously on Reddit. You think you can make me look like a villain? You think you can take my husband, my money, my life away from me? The post went viral. Thousands of comments. Melissa Walker became a trending topic for all the wrong reasons. The next day, I got an email from her. No subject line. Just 2 words. You won. But she was wrong. This wasn't about winning. This was about freedom. For the first time in years, I wasn't second-guessing myself. I wasn't walking on eggshells. I wasn't begging for affection or approval. I was just me again. That night, I took a long drive through the hills. No destination. No plan. Just wind through the windows, music in my ears, and the weight of her lies finally off my chest. But the story wasn't over yet. Because while she was drowning in the consequences, Melissa was already plotting her next move. And her next move was darker than anything I expected. I should have known she wouldn't go down without taking a few swings on the way. Melissa always had 2 sides, the one she showed the world and the one she weaponized behind closed doors. The public version wore expensive dresses and smiled on Instagram. The private version? She kept that one sharpened like a knife. And now that the world had turned on her, that second side came out in full force. It started with a knock on my door. 2 detectives. Plain clothes. Calm voices. Ethan Walker? Yes. We received a report involving you. Mind if we come in? My heart dropped, not out of guilt, but out of instinct. When 2 cops show up unannounced, it's never good. I let them in. They sat down, opened a folder, and began. There's been an accusation of physical abuse. From your ex-wife. I almost laughed. But I didn't. Let me guess. I said. She said I hit her. The taller detective nodded. She claims you struck her during an argument last month. Says she has photos. A bruise on her shoulder. I leaned back. Photos? I knew what this was. Melissa was setting the stage. Trying to create smoke where there was no fire. Because if she couldn't destroy me financially, emotionally, or publicly, maybe she could bury me legally. I took a breath, opened my phone, and pulled up the timestamps. Here, I said, handing it over. The date she gave you? I was at a charity gala that night. 200 guests. Cameras. Even the mayor was there. I'm in half the photos. The detective scrolled, lips tightening. Then I dropped the real bomb. And by the way, I've been documenting every interaction with her since the separation. She hasn't been within 10 feet of me in over 3 weeks. I have surveillance footage. Phone records. Want them? They looked at each other. The younger one nodded. Yeah, we'll take everything. 2 days later, the case was dropped. No charges filed. No investigation. But the damage? Already spreading. Melissa had leaked part of the report to a local blog. Unconfirmed allegations, they called it, but the headline was brutal. Sources say troubled ex-husband may have history of abuse. And just like that, doubt was planted. Friends called. Man, what's going on? Even my mom. Is there something you haven't told me, Ethan? I felt like I was drowning in shadows I didn't create. That's when I realized Melissa wasn't trying to win me back. She was trying to erase me. If she couldn't have the life we built, then I wasn't allowed to have it either. But what she didn't know, I'd been preparing for this exact move. Remember the flash drive? I made 2 copies, and one of them had recordings, audio files, phone calls, conversations, including one where she admitted, laughing, to faking a panic attack just to get sympathy from my sister. I sent that file, anonymously, to the same blog that ran the abuse story. I added context, more proof, more receipts. 3 days later, they issued a retraction. Update. Allegations made by Melissa W. appear to be unsubstantiated. Additional recordings raise questions about her credibility. It wasn't enough to fix the damage, but it was enough to slow the bleeding. Meanwhile, Melissa went radio silent. No calls, no posts, no surprise visits. It felt eerie, like the calm before something worse. And then, one night, I got a call from Stacy, her best friend. Ethan, she whispered. I know we've never been close, but I need to warn you. Melissa's not just angry anymore. She's spiraling. And she's talking about doing something big. Like dangerous. What do you mean? I mean you need to be careful. Watch your back. Click. The line went dead. My heart was pounding. Because if there was one thing I knew about Melissa, it was this. When she had nothing left to lose, she became the most dangerous woman alive. I started locking my doors twice. Checking windows. glancing over my shoulder in parking garages. Melissa's silence wasn't peace, it was pressure building in the pipes. You don't turn off a hurricane by ignoring it. You brace for impact. And the impact came 6 nights later, at 2:14 a.m. I woke up to the sound of something creaking. Not a loud crash. Not glass breaking. Just soft movement. Too soft. Too careful. At first, I thought it was my mind playing games. Stress. Paranoia. Whatever. But then I heard it again, the gentle click of a door closing. My bedroom door. I reached for the drawer beside my bed. Kept a small bat there ever since the break-in. My hands were shaking. I didn't even turn on the light. Just moved slow, silent, barefoot across the carpet. I peeked into the hallway. Empty. But the front door? Unlocked. Wide open. I crept down the hallway like I was in some horror movie, adrenaline crashing through my chest. The kitchen light was on. That's when I saw her. Standing there. Hair a mess. No makeup. Eyes wild. And in her hand? A kitchen knife. She didn't flinch. She just looked at me like I was a stranger in her house. What the F*** are you doing here? I asked, my voice low but shaking with fury. She blinked slowly. Her voice was calm. Too calm. I just wanted to talk. With a knife? She looked down at it like she was surprised to see it in her hand. Oh, she said. I forgot I picked it up. That line. That blank expression. I'd never seen that version of her before. This wasn't manipulation. This was something else. Something broken. I held the bat low, behind my leg. You need to leave. Right now. I thought if I could just explain everything, she whispered, maybe you'd listen. Maybe we could fix this. Fix this? You tried to ruin me, Melissa. You tried to frame me. You sent that loser to break into my office. You made up an abuse case. I did it for us, she snapped suddenly, her voice breaking for the first time. You never listened. You never fought for me. You just left. That's when I saw it, the shift. She wasn't trying to hurt me. Not physically. She was trying to drag me into her madness. If she couldn't have the life we had, she wanted to drag me into the wreckage of her own. And I wasn't letting that happen. I'm calling the police, I said, raising my phone. She didn't move. Just stood there, breathing heavily, like her body had finally caught up with her insanity. You know they'll believe me, she said coldly. They always believe the woman. Not this time, I said. I've got cameras. Audio. A restraining order filed last week. You walk out now, and maybe you walk free. You stay. I paused. And this becomes your final performance. Silence. Then, without a word, she dropped the knife on the counter. Walked past me, slowly, like she was floating. As she reached the door, she turned to look back at me. You think you've won, she said. I didn't win, I replied. You just lost. She disappeared into the night, barefoot. I locked the door behind her. And this time, I sat by it. All night. Bat in one hand. Phone in the other. At sunrise, I filed the police report. Sent them the footage. And pressed charges. It was over. At least, I thought it was. But 3 days later, I got a letter. A handwritten one. No return address. Inside were 5 words. If I can't have you. That's it. No signature. No threats. Just those words. And I knew. Melissa wasn't finished. The letter haunted me more than her voice ever could. If I can't have you. That wasn't a threat. That was a promise from a woman with nothing left to lose. I read it 5 times. No signature. Just her twisted handwriting. Slanted, erratic. Like she wrote it mid-breakdown. I handed it to the police the same day, added it to the file, extended the restraining order, upgraded security around the building. Cameras. Reinforced locks. Even bought a second phone, burner style, in case she tried to track me through mine. But even with all that, I didn't sleep. Because the truth was simple. Melissa didn't want revenge anymore. She wanted destruction. And not just of me, but of everything I'd rebuilt without her. 3 days later, it started. Small things. My business email was locked. My bank flagged an attempted password change. Someone filed a bogus tax complaint under my name. At first, I thought it was coincidence. Then my assistant, Chloe, walked into my office pale as a ghost. You need to see this, she said, placing her phone in my hand. It was a video, sent to her anonymously. Melissa, in her car. No makeup, just tears and venom. This man, he manipulated me for years. He's abusive. He ruined my life. And now he's using his company to target me and silence me. She was trembling on cue. Crocodile tears running like a faucet. No proof. No logic. Just pain packaged for sympathy. At the end of the video, she looked straight into the camera and said, "If anything happens to me, Ethan Walker did it." It was a death wish in disguise. She was baiting me, framing me, setting the stage for something darker. That night, I couldn't stay home. I grabbed a backpack, left everything behind, and checked into a hotel under a different name. I was done playing defense. It was time to strike. So I called Olivia again, her cousin, the journalist. I gave her the full story, the letter, the video, the threats, and I said one sentence I hadn't said out loud until that moment. If I disappear, make sure the world knows it was her. Silence on the line. Then Olivia whispered, "She needs help, Ethan. Real help. But until she gets it, she's a danger to everyone around her." I agreed. But help was no longer my mission. Survival was. The next day, Melissa made her move. She went to the press, leaked old photos, told lies, claimed I had mental health problems and violent tendencies, used bits of old texts out of context, made it sound like I was spiraling, aggressive, unstable. She was rewriting history with herself as the fragile little victim. And the worst part? Some people believed her. Comments poured in. "She's been through so much. He's clearly the villain here. She's brave for speaking out." It felt like a sick joke. I had evidence. Proof. Years of manipulation. And still, she had people fooled. But I wasn't done. I uploaded everything. The messages. The videos. The audio clips of her mocking me, laughing at how she lied to therapists, bragging about faking breakdowns for pity. I didn't just post it. I emailed it to every news outlet she contacted. Within hours, the tone shifted. New leaks show Melissa W. may have manipulated abuse narrative. Full audio clips raised doubts about viral videos' validity. Her online support evaporated overnight. And for the first time in months, she went quiet. No videos. No posts. No letters. Just static. But static is never silence. Because that same night, the front desk at my hotel called. "There's a woman in the lobby. Says she's your wife. Refuses to leave." I froze. I hadn't told anyone where I was. Nobody. Except Olivia. Unless Melissa had followed me, tracked me, watched me. And now, she was here. Right outside my room. I stood in my hotel room, staring at the door. 6 floors down, she was waiting. My phone buzzed again. Another message from the front desk. "She's becoming agitated. Should we call the police?" Yes, that's what I should have done. But I didn't. I needed to see her. One last time. Not for closure. Not for forgiveness. For confirmation. Confirmation that the woman I once loved was truly gone, and the thing standing in her place had no soul left to save. I took the elevator down slowly. Every floor felt like a countdown. And when the doors opened, there she was. Melissa. Messy hair. Tear-streaked face. Designer coat over a pajama shirt. Still playing the part of the broken wife. But her eyes? Cold. Calculating. Watching every move I made. She rushed toward me, voice shaking. "Ethan, please. Just hear me out. 10 minutes. That's all I'm asking." I raised my hand. "Don't come closer." She froze. There was a security guard nearby, watching. Lobby staff behind the desk, whispering. She saw them too. That's when her tone changed. "Do you really want to do this here?" She hissed, voice low now, venomous. "Make me look like the crazy one again?" "I didn't have to do anything for that," I said. "You did it all on your own." She took a shaky breath. "I loved you." "No. You used me. You loved the control. The image. The safety net." Tears welled in her eyes. "I made mistakes, okay? I got scared. I thought I was losing you. You lost me the day you laughed at me in front of your family." Silence. For the first time, I saw it. Not guilt, not sadness. Just the slow, bitter realization that she couldn't twist this anymore. "I still have things I could release," she said suddenly. "Photos. Messages. You know how the internet works. It wouldn't take much to." I laughed. Actually laughed. "You're bluffing," I said. "And even if you weren't, go ahead. I've got nothing left to hide. But you? You've already burned your last bridge." She stepped closer. "I'm not afraid of you, Ethan." "Good," I said. "Because I'm not afraid of you either." That broke something. Her hands clenched. Her jaw tightened. She looked around, realizing she had no audience this time. No way to flip it. No way to control the scene. And finally, she whispered, "You ruined me." I looked her dead in the eyes. "No, Melissa. You did that all by yourself. I just stepped out of the blast radius." Then I turned and walked back into the elevator. Didn't run. Didn't look back. I heard her scream as the doors closed. But this time, it didn't shake me. It didn't haunt me. It just confirmed what I already knew. This was over. Weeks passed. Melissa was charged for the break-in, the false report, and harassment. Nothing major. She'd probably walk with probation, but the damage to her reputation was permanent. No more influencer deals. No more brand ambassadorships. No more lies that people believed. She faded. Just another name people whispered about for a while, then forgot. As for me, I rebuilt. Quietly. Privately. Took a break from social media. Started therapy. Hired new people I could trust. Focused on what mattered. And one day, months later, while walking through the park with nothing but the sound of birds and my heartbeat in my ears, I realized something simple. Peace doesn't come when they leave. Peace comes when you stop letting them live in your head. So this is the last time I'll ever say her name. This is the final chapter. No revenge left to take. No tears left to cry. Just me, moving forward. And her, left exactly where she belongs. Behind me.